everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it is day one of our June release, and I have a card set to share with you today. Hey everybody, so I'm using the new set Dinomite and the new stencil Jungle Leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp these three images using Ink on 3's Blackout ink with my Misty. That is onto Nina Desert Storm 80-pound cardstock. It's kind of what my go-to is when I'm coloring on craft. So I'm going to stamp this a couple of times just so I get a good image. These are brand new stamps, so they haven't really been seasoned too much. You don't want to press too hard because then you're going to, make the lines a little bit thicker. That's just a dry eraser board eraser just so I can, apply even pressure. And I actually do it 3 times, I guess. There we go. So this is really quick and easy. There we go. So now I'm using the Kitasaurus stack too. That's from Die Cuts with a View. So I'm going ahead and I am coloring these dinosaurs with some really simple coloring. I am using Copics YR 20, 23, 27, E19, E25, E27, YG 95, YG 93, 95, 99. They will all be listed on my blog. Just easy coloring, blending and what have you. And I'm going to add some highlights with my Jelly Roll pen, my Secure White Jelly Roll number 10. And that's about it. So super easy. And I do add some dot detail when I can here or there. There we go. You see I added some highlights there. I'm going ahead and adding some, Copic coloring. So this is just simple stuff. That's why it's in fast, time lapse. I didn't want to waste your time with this. But I wanted to show you, I do color my images. So fast stuff, adding a few little dots here and there for some texture. And I will put this through my Brother Scan Cut and cut them out with a 0.4 border. So now I'm just using, opening this Jungle Leaves stencil. And I'm going to be doing some ink blending. So I'm going to tape this stencil tape the stencil onto the front of my cardstock from the back using purple tape. And then I'm going to use Distress Oxide inks in Ground Espresso. I'm going to bring that in from the edge. And then I'm going to use Forest Moss and then Peel Paint in the center. So this is just easy peasy blending. Basically, I'm making my own pattern paper. So nothing too special. A lot of times I'll use my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. This time I'm just blending on top of my Stampin' Up! A Stampin' Up! Pad. And those are Tailored Expressions blending brushes. And I'm just blending. So, the nice thing about blending onto craft cardstock, I love the way it looks. It just gives a brightness to it somehow. I love Distress Oxide inks on craft cardstock. And again, that's Nina Desert Storm 80-pound. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm using the layered frame and journal die and the stitched and scalloped rectangles, and also that leaf from the tropical dies. So I went ahead and I cut out a rectangle using that paper. Those are the two that I used. And then a scalloped using that paper from the from that Die Cuts with a View. And you'll notice that I also cut out the layered frame and journal die. That cardstock base is Paper Tray Ink Ripe Avocado. And I cut out the layered frame and journal. And then I cut a leaf out of the center of it. And I'll be using that later. You'll see. So I'm just sort of staggering all the pieces on the front of my card base using my ATG gun. That's an A2 sized piece of A2 size card, so 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches, Teflon bone folder, Martha Stewart scoreboard, that's my thing. I'm using a little bit of skinny score tape there on the little skinny edges. I'm just flattening it with my Teflon bone folder so it's easier to peel off. And then I'm going to pop that on. I like that layered frame and journal die. I use it quite a bit actually. It's a neat little area that you can put your images. And that's what I was going for. Just trying to get it as straight as I can. There we are. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiments from that same stamp set Dinomite. And I'm using Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. And I'm just going to freehand stamp them onto flag dies that I cut out of Nina Desert Storm cardstock again. Those are flag dies from Jaded Blossom. And there we go. So easy stuff. I'm going to stamp all 3 sentiments. So I'm going to stamp 3 sentiments for all 3 dinosaurs. So I'm going to have 3 cards. These are basically going to be very similar, using all the same products. There we go. So stamping all 3. So these stamped really well. Super easy stuff. The sentiment said, hope your birthday is dynamite. Wishing you a T-Rexcellent birthday. And you're extraordinary. Which is fun. So there we go. So all of them are stamped. So now I'm going to quickly get my card put together. So I'm using 3M foam tape here. And I'm going to pop up the sentiment just because it's roughly the width of that flag die, so it just makes it simple for me. So I'm just going to try and get that straight. And then I'm going to pop up my dinosaur using Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. Actually, I'm using mostly edges, like leftover Stampin' Up! Dimensional, like the edges and stuff that I'm going to cut up. Because, you know, you can use the whole thing. You don't have to throw it out once the dots are done in the center. So I'm just trimming off the edge there with my Tim Holtz shears. And then that is my colored dinosaur that I will pop up with the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. So like I said before, easy peasy stuff. I did go ahead and cut 2 leaves out for each card. I did cut 1 leaf out of the center of that stitched frame and journal die, and I'll show you what I'm doing with that a little later. And then I went ahead and cut another one out for each card. So each card has 2 leaves. And then I use that same paper tray ink ripe avocado cardstock, which is nice. It's got a nice weight to it, which I quite like. So there we are. So I'm just getting all of my dinosaur popped up here, trying to peel off the backs. Now, trust me, the backs come off easily. It's me with my nails that I can't get them off. So there we go. So now I'm going to put together my second front. So these, like I said, these were super easy cards. So once you kind of come up with a design, then you can repeat the design on the rest. So you'll notice that I do have some leftover of that blended backgrounds with the leaves that I made, the jungle leaves. And I'll show you what I'm doing with that later. You might just not, you know, no point in wasting it. You've already blended the background. I originally blended pieces of cardstock that were 4.25 by 5.5 because I wasn't sure if I was going to cover the whole front of the card with it or if I was going to cut it down. So I figured it'd just be easier to start out with the whole piece, and then I can decide. And then I can use the leftover, like I said, and you'll see that in a second here. So there we go. So now I am putting the thickened edge of that layered frame die on the opposite side, pointing to the left, because I'm going to have the dinosaur that's facing to the right on this one. And then you'll notice I also stamped my sentiment that way. So my flag banner is pointing to the left, or to the right, sorry. So it's coming from the left-hand side of the card instead of the right. I'm just trying to, like I said, get that as straight as I can. It's hard to get things straight when you have a few things on your card that's wonky, because it kind of throws off your eye, like for straightness. Do you know what I mean? So now I'm going to pop up this dinosaur too. These are adorable, little super easy to color images. And I know I've said this before, but you can hop on over to my blog at leescraps.blogspot.com. And over there, I list everything that I use, right down to the paper, Copics, if I use any kind of crystal drops, anything. They're always listed there. So if I don't mention something, you can always go and check it out. And I have a full list of exactly what I use. There we go. So those are those two. Now I'm going to do my last one here with the pterodactyl image. And what I like is that everyone loves dinosaurs, but it's kind of great to have something for the boys out there. Do you know what I mean? These are kind of more masculine looking cards, although easily they could be for girls too. It doesn't really matter. Kind of gender neutral, which is nice because, you know, I tend to go for the uber girly, and, you know, some people don't like that. Some girls don't like that. So it's nice to have some gender neutral designs on hand. Excuse me. So those allergies of mine, let me tell you, I'm living on allergy medication right now. There we go. So I'm popping my last frame on there. And then this one says, hope your birthday is dynamite, which is cute. Popping that up with my 3M foam tape again. Like I said, I'm going to take a sip of my tea. Sorry, guys. I didn't want to be coughing. Okay, so now I'm cutting off the edge of that of that hanging over piece of flag die there. I'm just going to pop that edge up because I didn't get it completely popped up. I hate when things go through the mail and get all kind of wonky. So that's why I try to put on a lot of foam tape. So this guy, I'm going to be having him up in the upper right-hand corner of that frame because he's going to be kind of flying, right? That's what I'm going for, which is kind of fun. So this release is super duper cute. It is, I love the stencils for this release. Trust me, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. So you're going to want to get your hands on this release. So now I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with those leaves, but what we're going to do is we're going to create the center of the card. So that is a piece of that same Nina Desert Storm cardstock, 4 by 5¼ inches. And I'm just going to apply that to the inside of my card with an ATG tape. Now, this is a leftover piece of that pattern paper that is 2 inches by 4.25 inches. So it's going to cover the whole bottom. And then that is a leftover piece of that same paper from the Kitasaurus stack, 6-inch pad. And I'm just going to put it across. That's like whatever I had. So some are 3/4 of an inch, some are 1 inch wide. It depends what was left. Now I'm going to just cut off the overhang here with a pair of scissors. There we go. And now I'm going to put this leaf that I cut out, just because I was cutting out of the center, I thought it looked kind of cool. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue, and I'm going to stick that down as a design element on the inside of my card. Like, pretty cute, eh? I thought it turned out really cute. There we go. So I'm going to do that to all of them. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead now and I'll stamp the sentiment. And the sentiment says, "You're rawsome," which is fun. And you'll see that I did all 3 of the interiors of these cards the same way. You want to use your leftovers and your scraps. You already blended your background. You don't want to throw it out. So there we go. How cute is that? I think it turned out great. So now I'm going to grab that ground espresso and I'm just going to ink blend on the edge of these leaves just to give them a little bit of interest. That's that same ripe avocado cardstock from Paper Tray Ink, and that's that Tailored Expressions blending brush again. And, easy peasy stuff. Blending all around the edge there. And that's about it. So I'm going to add these to my card bases with that art glitter glue. And I'm just going to add them here and there. I'll add 2 per card, just, to add a little bit of interest. So I'm going to put those behind the sentiment on that one. I'll do the same on this one, I believe. Tuck them in behind the sentiment. It's just lots of fun. Gives a little bit of texture. Gotta love those tropical flower dies. The leaves are perfect for this. They match those leaves basically on the jungle leaves, I think anyway. So there we go. So I'm just going to pop those ones in there. And then I'm almost done, guys. So now I'm just going to pull out my favorite, which is Nuvo Crystal Drops. And that is in Olive Branch, I believe. And I'm just going to add them here or there for a little bit of interest and some texture, but not, any competing colors. So, I quite like how this turned out. It's beautiful. They're they're just adorable cards. Dinosaur cards are so cute. So my trick is obviously when I'm using these Olive Branch or these Nuvo Crystal Drops, you want to keep them nice and warm. So I put them in my pocket or whatever while I'm crafting, and then I take them out to add to my project. And then you get a perfectly domed top to your little crystal drops, which is what you want. And there we go. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog and check out all the design team projects. They're beautiful as always. And you can hop on over to the store if you want to get your hands on this release early with the gotta have it now package. And thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to come on by tomorrow because I'll have another video for you and some more new products from Jaded Blossom to show you. Thanks everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye.